Hi, this is Heidi, episode 39, lens number 1, I am right. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello, family and friends, new listeners, and those of you who have listened to many of my episodes. Remember to click subscribe in iTunes or whatever app you listen to the podcast in. Then every Wednesday, the show will pop up and you'll get a notification when there's a new episode. And if you haven't already, could you please, pretty please, leave me a rating and review in iTunes? Of course, I'd like 5 stars, but you can put whatever you want. When I get to 100, I'm going to randomly pick one of those 100 and send one person a $100 Amazon gift card. Thank you to B Shoop Twins, who wrote, Heidi has a way of making you feel better about yourself and how you parent. Her honesty proves that you are not alone when you question your parenting skills. Her advice shows you that you can do anything. Her podcasts are easy and fun to listen to, and I promise you won't regret taking the time to listen. Aw, thank you, Bonnie. No, we are not alone. Okay, so last week I introduced you at a high level to the 5 clarifying lens methodology, which I have created and I'm using with clients. I can't tell you how quickly clients can see where they need to change their focus, where they aren't seeing their teenager and even themselves as clearly as they need to. It's amazing how seeing clearly immediately creates calm and confidence. The next 5 episodes will discuss each specific lens in detail with examples and ways to refocus, and examples of the frustration we cause ourselves, as well as the benefits to ourselves when we do the work to see our world more clearly. The 5 lenses are not in any order of importance, and often we are wearing a combination of all of them, and some are just more fuzzy or cloudy than others. Okay, so I'm jumping in. I am so excited for this, you guys. Today's episode is going to focus on lens number 1, being right, or I am right. That lens of seeing the world that I'm always right. This cloudy lens isn't just about being a lens. It's really like a pair of glasses with blinders on each side of them. And at first we don't realize that we have these blinders on. We feel safe knowing there's like right and wrong in the world. Our brain always wants to be right. The problems arise when we wear these glasses to judge other people, to parent our children, and we realize, I don't like all the frustration and judgment that I'm feeling right now. We know we're looking at our children and our life with this lens when we often think or even say out loud things like, why won't this child do this? How could they do this? I think it's wrong to, and then fill in the blank, my child should be doing this or shouldn't be doing this. Or the best way or the only way to do this is, fill in the blank. Another way to think of this cloudy lens is the blinders on it only allow us to see a small speck of the world that we have determined is right. And taking the blinders off allows us the panoramic view of our child, of other people. We see context. We see other perspectives, other opinions as valid. We develop understanding that there are many rights in a situation. And we rarely say things as openly as like, I know I'm right. This is the only right way. We hide our blinders and our judgment in thoughts and comments like those that I just shared. Let me give you 2 examples of where I was wearing this I am right lens earlier in parenting and the insecurity and the frustration that I created for myself. Now, before I had children, I had very specific ways that I wanted to be a mother. And not just from any standpoint of it's what I wanted. I had these ideals for myself because I thought it was the right way to be a mother. And doing something else was wrong. And I thought only good moms breastfed their children, so I prepared to breastfeed Carter, our oldest. I took a class at the hospital. But no one mentioned, or at least I didn't hear anyone say, that it's really, really hard and sometimes it doesn't work. And guess what? It didn't work between me and him. I tried and tried. Even in my sleep deprived and anxious new mom haze, I went to a lactation specialist. It was truly a disaster and one of the worst experiences of my life because I had blinders on that only good moms, which I was aiming to be, breastfed. In fact, you hurt your children if you needed to give them formula. That was my belief. I created the stress and pressure on myself from those beliefs instead of just believing that breastfeeding was one way to feed a baby. After 7 very long and challenging weeks, we switched totally to formula feeding Carter. I even had a very conscious thought and awakening then. Parenting isn't looking like what I thought it would. The very narrow field ahead, which I wanted to see with my I am right blinders on, made it so I didn't see other very good and valid ways to be a mother, and other ways which were actually the only working ways for me to proceed. I had the thought, this is teaching me that there might be other things coming down the path of parenting that will or won't happen as I want them to. So be prepared and it will all go fine. My blinders were slowly being removed, thank heavens. As my children grew, I still had blinders on to what good moms did, wanting my children to take piano lessons or be musical because I had taken piano for 10 years, and I bought into that being the mark of a good child and a good mother. And instead of it just being the mark of one way to develop a child and be a supportive mother, I put pressure on myself and my children. And over the years, despite my children having decent musical talents, I again cleared off my "this is the right way" glasses, and I questioned, well, who is this benefiting? Do my children like this? Are there other ways that we can develop them that are things they want to do? It turns out my kids are much more athletic than musical. Now, this isn't a discussion about if sports or music are better. If you think that, you're missing the point. I had to clear off my thinking that I know what is right, that this is the way, and ask myself, what am I not seeing here? When I started asking questions and trying to see my children as the individuals, recognizing their desires, qualities, seeing where I was trying to fit them into like this predetermined box I had created in my mind, we were able to make changes in our activities, and I was able to drop a lot of stories in my mind about what good kids and about what good moms do. And the result was my kids were happier, and I was and am calmer. I don't expect them to do things that I think are the only path to a successful adulthood. I've taken down blinders to see so many more options, to drop the judgment of me and of some predetermined only right way. Now, here are other ways that those blinders block us from seeing our children as they are. Often parents insist that, okay, everyone goes to college right after high school, even if your child doesn't want to go or even demonstrates that they really aren't ready. Why force it? Because that's the right way to move into adulthood? I work with people who struggle overthinking their children aren't doing things right, even when they're college age, but they're working full-time and not in college. But by thinking my child isn't on the right path, my child's behind, you're going to worry, you're going to place judgment on this child, judgment that you feel, but it makes you show up in a certain way around this child. When you think they're behind, you only see other evidence that they aren't hitting milestones of other kids, but again, arbitrary milestones. Question this thinking and start removing blinders. How is this child taking on more responsibility than a college student? When my client saw this and acknowledged, well, he is being 100% responsible for his income, paying bills, and is adulting in some ways that college students really aren't, she reduced her worry and frustration significantly. She cleared off her I am right lenses, and now she sees her child exactly where he is, where he's thriving, and right where he wants to be. Our society has a lot of prescribed milestones that teenagers and young adults accomplish things by or go to the next phase. We can put pressure on ourselves and on our kids when we insist that they stick to those timelines and they aren't ready for the next phase. In my church, young adult men typically go on a mission around age 18 or 19, and young women used to go when they were age 21, and now that age is lower. A few decades ago, my husband decided to go on his mission when he was 23. Thank heavens his family wasn't wearing strict blinders and glasses determining what's the right age to go or not. They let him go when he was ready without the pressure or judgment that good kids go at a certain age or such. They allowed him to bloom exactly on his schedule, and that put him on a very different and a more fulfilling path for him. Now, you can create a lot of different negative emotions as you look through these cloudy lenses thinking you were right. I'm going to list a few of the most common and intense so you can check in with yourself. If you feel these on the regular, you're going to want to dig a lot deeper and see how you can clear off these lenses. And it's common that we even use one lens more predominantly with one child and maybe another with another child. First, we create judgment and criticism inside ourselves when we think we're right and our child is making the wrong choices. And these emotions lead us quickly to frustration. We're frustrated that our children don't want to do what we taught them to do or what we want them to do. We're frustrated that our children are different from us, that they have different likes, dislikes, strengths, weaknesses, because we think that if they're off of one right path, it means they're wrong. One way I like to describe it to people is that when we're thinking that we're right, and I mean intensely right, it's as if we're white knuckle gripping a stick that says, I am right. We hold on so tight to being right that we're tense, we're anxious, we're full of judgment. It's easy for these emotions to create deep insecurity that we're doing something wrong because we only see one right way to be a good mom. Or it's for our kids to do things our way, then we judge ourselves and question our value. The judgment and frustration also create anxiety and worry, since again, our kids aren't doing it the right way. So we worry that they will or won't be happy. Now, I'm going to go into worry later with another lens. That's a whole other mindset and way of looking at our kids. But see how we can reduce so much worry when we increase our field of vision, increase our perspective and understanding and acceptance of experiencing life. When we accept that our job as parents is to guide them down their path to adulthood, not the path either we took or we want them to take, all of a sudden we start seeing so many other right ways. We start seeing our children as individuals and unique and really special. So how do we take off these I am right blinders, clear off these cloudy and distorted lenses? How do you open up your mind to this more panoramic vision and release the tension in your body? First, I want you to think of something that is creating a lot of frustration for you. Maybe something that you want your teen to want or like or do now. Ask yourself these questions, self-reflective and mind-expanding questions. They will be the first and most powerful way to clear off grime. Ask yourself, how am I wrong about this situation? How is my child right? And the most insightful, what am I not seeing about this situation? When I was going through my breastfeeding challenges, I needed to ask, how am I wrong that formula feeding is bad? How many ways are there to feed a child? How am I wrong that breastfeeding is the one and only right way and everything else is hurtful? Luckily, I clumsily got to my peace and new resolutions. My vision definitely expanded. Now, another example, I remember when my oldest got into high school and I saw at his school that there were student government positions and elections. And I always thought, well, being a leader in this specific way was a right way to get into college, the right way to thrive as a teen. My oldest is much more reserved. He's cautious. He's a leader in a quiet way, not in a way of being the first to jump up and do something and be vocal. I remember going through the process of changing my opinions about what is the right way to be a leader And what does that even mean? I admitted to myself all the ways I was wrong about my judgments and assumptions about what school positions would help him later in life or get into college. It helped me see a lot of other silly ways in which I was thinking there was only one right way to develop leadership qualities as a teen. I have become very aware of where he wants to be a leader and even admiring the ways in which he sets examples in quiet and less noticeable ways. And I keep asking myself, what are my assumptions and judgments blocking me from seeing about this child? Even the idea that he needs to be a leader blocks me from seeing and accepting him exactly as he is right now. Now, when my client was overcome with her judgment of how her young adult wasn't on track and wasn't successful since he wasn't in college when other kids were, we kept asking, but what aren't you seeing? And changing the focus allowed her huge recognition and peace for the path that her child is on. One of the best emotions to try to access is curiosity. That will clear up a lot of this distorted lens. Get curious. Why does my teen want to dye her hair a bright color? Why do I think that's bad? What am I making it mean about her? What am I making it mean about me? And maybe how is this a good thing? When your teen says that they want to get a job at a gym, but you insist that they do this prestigious summer internship to put on college applications, get curious. Why would they want to do something different? How are they right and you're wrong? Here are some great ways to neutralize your judgments about your teens. Think, I don't know what this child needs to learn from this experience. I don't know what this child is thinking. I don't know what other factors are making them want this. I don't know why this child is suddenly not turning in homework. I don't know why this child is so different from me. Allow yourself not to need to know so much. So how do we as parents benefit and feel different when we clear up these judgments? When we clear off the dirt and grime and we take down the blinders? First, we can change the internal balance of how we just feel in general every day. We get to feel more calm and peace for the path our children are on. We don't tie our self-esteem and worth as a parent to very specific milestones and markers of things our children will do or won't do. We get to be confident that we're doing our best and we let our children do their best. We create so much more love and understanding and acceptance of our children. We see their unique qualities and we start wanting to support them and help them grow in whatever way they were meant to bloom, rather than forcing them to grow into our own misconceived notion of what our children would turn into. And y'all, we feel the love. They'll feel the love that they create with their thoughts, but we get to access love for them right now. There's a great quote. If you have to choose between being right and being kind, choose kindness. And this becomes so much easier when we stop wanting and needing to be right. We become so much kinder to everyone. Another significant benefit to dropping the I am right narrow perspective is we give ourselves permission to change and grow. I was coaching a client who wants to make a different school choice for her younger children than she made for her older children. She feels guilty because years ago she judged herself as doing the only right way by making certain choices, and she judged herself as better than mothers sending their kids where she now wants to send her children. And it's a beautiful thing for her to love who she was then, with her limited experience and different perspectives and opinions, and to love the woman now who has removed all the judgment and sees so much more. We can change. Our opinions and desires and goals will change when we choose to do things because we want to, not because it's the right way. We also get to be much more enjoyable people and create more connections with other parents. We aren't thinking someone else is doing it wrong. When someone tells us some parenting decision they made, we can think, well, I don't think I would do that for my child, but I don't know what's right for this parent to do with their child. They are the best person to make the choice for their family. We can never see even when we clean off our lenses, we never see what's going on in someone else's family. I remember a college roommate telling me that I was critical, and I didn't really have the self-awareness at the time to even realize that about myself, but I was. Totally. I'm glad she said it, and I have worked for decades to replace criticism with acceptance and understanding. It feels so much better. And here's the really hard reality. We are wrong at times. It's humbling. It's human. We aren't always right. Accepting this helps us see the world in a much different light. I'm so much happier as a less critical person. And guess what? Families happen to really like happy mothers. When we clear off this distorted lens, our children benefit tremendously. They learn to make choices within boundaries we give them. They feel our confidence and trust in them, and they learn to trust their own decisions. Now, children are developing their own emotional adulthood. They naturally want to please parents, and they want to make other people happy. They will relax when they see that we aren't tense and scared that they aren't making the right choice. And because they aren't feeling judged, they'll seek out ways to connect with us. My daughter just sat me down to tell me something she wants to do. I don't want her to shut down, so I'm trying to see all of these things from her perspective. Our kids will trust us more when they don't feel judged as being right or wrong. Now, I want to say, there will probably be things in your child's teen years that you think are wrong, capital W, wrong to do, like taking drugs. I hardly think doing drugs is right. There are very serious and critical guardrails and values we want to teach our children. And I never tell my clients what is right or wrong for them to think. I trust that they will make the right decisions when they clean up their thinking. But here's the thing. When we take the blinders off to the minor and less significant decisions in our children's lives, they'll be more apt to pay attention to the more serious guidance and rules we have. They still might not listen, and they still might make mistakes, but we'll also have more emotional reserves to deal with those mistakes because we've practiced love and acceptance more on the small and medium issues. Trust that your children have been given to you because you are the best parent for them. See what they're teaching you about you. Honor and recognize the ways in which you want to change and improve. Is there a way you want to be different and you couldn't show up and feel accepted in earlier years? How will you change by taking off the blinders to all the right and amazing ways to be a phenomenal parent? Here's the thing. We are different, less controlling, calmer, more patient when we guide and teach our children from a place of love. Love for ourselves and love for them. We don't make rules and make them do things because it's the right way. We teach and encourage and model resiliency and confidence when we accept there are so many right ways to be a teen and be a parent. These years go fast. I don't believe the teen years need to be torture or horrible years. I believe these will be the most connecting and enjoyable years. And because I believe that, I'm creating that. And you can too. It just takes clearing off our vision and seeing our children and ourselves exactly as we are. Now, there's more information on this program, and the workbook to help you get started on it is available at my website, HeidiBenjaminson.com. Take the confidence quiz, and the workbook will be emailed to you. It's awesome. When you're ready to take this work to a deeper level, drop the judgment about yourself, your teen, replace worry with calm, book a phone call consult to see if private one-on-one coaching is for you. And honestly, everyone needs a life coach. I have one. We all need someone outside of us giving us new glasses to wear. I can help you see your child and yourself clearly. Stay safe and well, and I'll see you next week.